As a safe holiday on Friday, and hopefully you are staying safe and watching football, because we have a game on Christmas. The Vikings fighting for a playoff spot, although the last 2 weeks haven't helped. And the Saints with a chance to wrap up the NFC South again with Mike Zimmer and Sean Payton, who used to be assistants in Dallas together.
We talked a little bit in the offseason about, I know he texted me after the one game and said, that'll be one for us to remember. But, Sean and I have such respect for one another that, I don't think, even as cocky as he is, I don't think we ever want to, affect our friendship any.
So Vikings still alive, Saints trying to wrap this thing up. They kind of know each other from the playoffs in years past as well.
Yeah, and the Saints don't typically like when you remind them of that. Memorable spoilers the Vikings have been in both 2017 and 2019. Now, look, these two teams are trending sort of in the different direction, although they're both coming off of losses this past weekend. This game with two struggling quarterbacks is going to really come down to the run game. The Saints really need to do a good job of getting Alvin Kamara going, Latavius Murray going. Look at what the Bears did against the Vikings last weekend. You had David Montgomery come in and average 4.7 yards per carry, about roughly 4.6 rather. They had one of the worst rushing attacks in the league ahead of this one. And then when you look at the Saints, well, Dalvin Cook is not to be trifled with. He's now coming off 3 games of 100 yards or more, and the Saints, well, they've struggled against the run game in recent weeks. Now, Sean Payton will be quick to tell you that these 2 games, little bit different, but still, they've allowed 170-plus rushing yards for 2 consecutive weeks. They haven't had that sort of span since 2014 in weeks 11 and 12. So he said, obviously, you're going to be mindful of that. I asked Mike Zimmer about Dalvin Cook. Where has his game developed? I mean, he's the league's 2nd leading rusher this year. He said he's always had great feet. He's always been physical, but it's his desire to be successful in the way that he's chosen to lead this year that has really stood out.
All right. Also, what they hope to be different this week, Jane, what the Saints hope to be different, is a better start here for Drew Brees. Kind of turned it around in the second half. What are they saying about Drew and his health here on a short week?
Well, it was so uncharacteristic of Drew Brees to go out there. He was 0 for 6 on his first passing attempts. And the fact that they were 1 of 11 on third down conversions, they logged their worst time of possession under Peyton and Brees. So, yeah, it was a little rocky. Drew Brees will tell you that he was still just trying to find his rhythm. But I did ask him, did you make this decision to play week of, or when did you know that you felt good enough with the ribs and the lungs to start playing in that game against the Chiefs? Here's what he said.
When we got to Philly that on game day, I told myself I'm going to go out and do everything I would do pregame and kind of see where I'm at. And I felt good to the point where the game adrenaline was pumping even during the pregame in Philly, even though knowing I wasn't going to play. And I felt like, man, I got this. Next week I got this, And so I still kind of had some benchmarks that I'd hit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to make myself feel like, I had enough, and felt like I had enough.
And look, Brees, like Sean Payton, can be a little temperamental after losses. Peyton a little spicy today when we brought up some of the postseason challenges, but you saw Brees there. He took this one in stride. He said the biggest challenge for him this week, all things considered, he felt good. But when you've got typically 7 days to prepare for a game, you've got 5. It's going to be all about keeping his body recovered, getting the treatments in there, and he's got a plan for himself. But again, all things considered, against a team like the Chiefs that could easily be back in the Super Bowl, this team only lost by 3 points following that start.